everyone. Today I have a repeat visitor, and this is Bryan Connor from Augusta, the real Augusta, Georgia. And I am just wanting to catch up with you, see where you are in the companies. A lot has changed since we talked the last time, and it is almost December 2024. And can you just give us a brief overview of how long you've been with Augusta, the progression of your companies, kind of where we are today in terms of how many locations, and right now, kind of where you are in the business?
Sure. Yeah. So, been with Augusta officially since 2021 in January. Came to the conference in 2020. Was when I first met you, met Mike, met the team, and then implemented pay for performance. I had an existing company, and so implemented pay for performance right when we got back in February. Had a great year, 2020, as far as what had been before, and made the decision to join, I think, midway through the year. And then so we've been in Augusta brand since 2021, and we started with when we first came to conference. We had just done 400,000 in sales, so we were a company with two maintenance trucks, a spray truck. Myself, Jeremy was with me, and he's now my partner. He was with me, and we had about, I think, two or three other guys when we first came to conference. Just pay for performance alone took us from 400 to 713,000. We didn't lose money that year, so that was great. Since being with Augusta, we've went. I think we'll do 1.4 million this year for the original location. And then we started a second location. This will be the second season in North Augusta, South Carolina. It will do right under 400,000 this year.
And that's your second location. So at this time you own two. And we have been hearing from Mike about what's called winter tracks, where you can choose one of many. And we have put together a lot of things for the owners this year, where you guys are doing winter services, a lot of Augusta Nation, and that's helped throughout the winter season, as well as Christmas lights. And it looks like you're not wearing Augusta yellow today. So can you tell us about your shirt? Show us your shirt.
Got my bells on.
Bell buttons.
Got the Santa hat, this has been I don't know if it's been quite a month. When did we? I guess it's been since I got back, October 14th, so a little over a month. Been selling Christmas lights, so that's been.
So tell us how you got into that, what you did to train. And we are in Georgia, so there's not a lot of snow, right? So This was a great track for you to pick. So tell us your thought process and how it's been going for you.
Sure. So everybody in Augusta Nation, and I'm sure across the landscape and world, experiences a decline around November, December, January, and February. And so what Mike has come up with is we've got to fix that. And yeah, it's easy to say, hard to do. But he's come up with some really good focused strategies. One of them is winter services, which we adopted early. But going a little bit more aggressive with that. Winter services like leaf cleanups, just trying to stay on the property and adding value during those months when you're not mowing grass. So,
and just second, for those who don't know winter services from the Augusta angle, can you explain that to them?
Sure. Yeah. So we sell mowing, and then even in our verbiage, we say winter services starts. For us, it's November 15th. That's our last mow day. And we just go right into what we call winter services at the biweekly mow rate. So they already have their pricing, all in all our verbiage, our estimate templates and things like that. We say we're coming. And so what it is we've got a big list of tasks that we do. The first priority is debris, because we do get leaves that fall really till January here. Not a whole lot on most properties, but enough that they need their leaves cleaned. And so those are mature properties that have trees. Some cookie cutter properties, it's really hard to put value on the property. So we've been telling our guys, hey, if you don't push mow a certain part of the property, push mow it with a bagger, create some lines. When you're in the beds, if they don't have bed weeding, weed the beds. If they don't have shrub trimming, trim the shrubs. So it's just trying to create value on the property and so that we can retain that customer throughout the year. And
Got
so
it.
that's pretty much what it is. And we have
Okay.
seasonal plants that need to be pruned here too. So that's like a January, February thing. So if our clients have roses or crepe myrtles or lantana, they know that those get pruned, and they don't have to call us for it.
People who do P for P are going to ask right away, how does that work then
Mm.
when they fill the budgeted hours that are on the schedule, or can they even fill the budgeted hours that you typically use for mowing?
Yeah. So what we do is we tell them to spend the time. We tell them to track the time all year round, but it's extremely important to track their time on winter services because people they're hip to it. They understand that they don't need us, and
Yes.
so if they feel that we're not providing value, it's going to be a very quick, a pause or cancel or even a cancellation.
Hmm.
So they track their time, they spend the full time. So P for P's probably not is it's not going to happen. But
Hmm.
the flip side of that is the people that do stay through the winter are the people that have shown that they embody our values. They
Hmm.
show up on time, they do a great job. Because otherwise, we do lay off. So
Hmm.
it's just something that we don't like. We don't want to do
Yes.
it, but it's something we have to do to keep the business moving forward. And we have a short season. This year, layoffs were December 13th because of Christmas lights, actually. Because Jeremy was busy. We had two other team members that were staying for the winter that were busy that would have
Hmm.
been taking budgeted hours, but they're doing Christmas lights. So the cutoff is December 13th this year. Whereas,
It's for winter services, so you don't continue winter services all through the winter in addition to the lights?
oh, we do for
Okay,
sure, but
cool.
we just don't need our full staff. Like
I see.
we had 15 people in the Augusta location.
Hmm.
We probably only need 7 or 8.
Wow. Okay, we'll get to that. So tell us how about the Christmas lights.
Yeah, so Christmas lights is our first year of pushing it. We did have a team member that had done Christmas lights, and he's like, look, he did it late in the season. I think it might have been the first year we joined Augusta, and I ended up selling a handful. We don't have any
Hmm.
of those clients anymore. We didn't push it. This is our first real year, and
Yeah.
so um, it's been exhilarating. I'm personally very afraid of roofs that are high up, high
Hmm.
pitch. Jeremy's operations. He's my partner. He is the operations manager, and he took the bull by the horns,
I
and
love it.
and yeah, he is Mr. Santa Claus. He's up there on every roof. He's the guy hanging off the edge, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, he's killing it. So I've been selling it. I've been the elf stimator is what I am. So I do the renditions. I put the lights on the house, send it to the clients, and try to sell the best that I can. And so we've done. I've got the gross revenue from it. I don't have the number of houses, but I think we've done almost 40 houses.
Okay.
And the total revenue is 42,954 as of today. And so,
Incredible. And so anybody watching is going to go, how in the world do you even begin to take on a service like this? So first of all, tell us a little bit about how you would bid a house. Do you do trees, sidewalks, porches? Kind of where do you draw the line? Because this could probably be endless.
yeah, so you can't, all right, so like people in Augusta Nation that didn't do Christmas lights, uh, we want to mow your grass. Like
Hmm.
that's really what we want to do. We'll mow your grass. That's our flagship service. And
Okay.
so to compare that to Christmas lights, it would be the roof line. So just if someone's got a gutter or the front facing shingle line,
Hmm.
that'd be your basic mow. That's really the staple of it. That's what we would want to do, for everybody. And that's the
Hmm.
base package. The ridge line, the top of the roof,
Yep.
that's an add-on. And then it does get into like wrapping columns, wrapping
Hmm.
trees, doing the ground lights are my favorite add-on service because
Hmm.
if I'm going to be an elf, I'm going to be a ground elf for sure.
Yes. Yes.
So outlining sidewalks, that's the best add-on. It's cheap. It's very easy to do. Wrapping columns can get tricky. Wrapping trees, very tricky. Shrubs, there's a little art to it, but we did learn when we went to Jason Murphy's seminar he held
Hmm.
in Kentucky, and so we learned some of this stuff, learned pricing. We price by the foot for the uh, roof line.
Mm-hmm.
And so it ranges. We would love to get $6 to $10.
Mm-hmm.
That's the range that we would like to get. Being the first year, I did do a whole lot of. I'm sorry, we were trying for 8 to 10, and I was doing
Mm-hmm.
25% off. And so, really,
Got it.
effectively, I was getting 6 to 8, and then some of those I was doing even cheaper if they were a first story roof. So some $4 or $5 per foot.
Mm-hmm. So since this is your first aggressive year, are you actually planning to? Were you really planning to make a lot of money, or were you just trying to plan to break even and get the hang of everything with the team, and then you've kind of been surprised by the results?
I haven't done the calculations as far as profit wise. I know we spent about $20,000 on material,
Okay.
and typically that's going to be 25%. So like we had the ability to do 80,000,
Mm-hmm.
probably a mixture of my pricing, and we just didn't use all the material. We're not going to use all the material.
Okay.
So your material is supposed to be about 25% or less, and your labor is about 25% or less. But no, I didn't plan on making money. This is more of like a 3 year
Mm-hmm.
fix for our fourth quarter collapse,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we did really well for our first year. So that was it
Yeah.
was planned to get that base, that foundation, and I think we're doing really well.
Yeah, I think that's super smart because otherwise it would be extremely overwhelming if you were trying to make a massive profit on your first year when next year you'll tweak enough to really blow it out of the water with your Christmas lights. So did you rebrand trucks? How much did you change from lawn care to not look too different from Augusta, but to still be able to look different enough? Did you put signs on people's houses, hang door hangers? How did you promote this?
Yeah, so we did. Jason, he recommended these bandit signs. So I'm sure if you've seen them all around town, the roofers, things like that, the signs that are pretty
Mhm.
cheap, they catch your eye, like they're red or something like that. So we did those signs everywhere. I mean, I plastered the town with them. I think we got 1,200 of them, and I know we've gotten at least 900 out
Wow.
across town. And so, and then we did the branded signs, Augusta Christmas, for the yards that we installed, put it in front of their
Mhm.
homes. And then we did the branded. Are they branded? They're magnets that go on all of our
Okay.
trucks. And so, yep. And so, like, we just put them right where Max is, put them right there. And so now all of our Augusta lawn care trucks have the Christmas light tag on it.
Oh, that's super
Yep.
smart.
And
So
then we
then
did
for
do
your
door
front,
hangers.
yeah, yeah, go ahead. I want to hear that.
Yeah. I bought the door hangers. I think I bought about 2,000 of them. I didn't allocate the resources necessary to do the door hangers. So we
Mhm.
may have gotten out 200 of them.
Okay.
They're the ones like the basic, the mid level, and the premium, and just kind of ranges. We had to put in our ranges. Hadn't gotten any yet. I would like to get one this year from a door hanger. That'd be nice, but I just did not allocate the resources for it.
Mhm. Had you already laid your guys off before you got the door hangers, or were you trying to do all that yourself?
Yeah, sometimes I think that I can do more. A lot of times I think I can do more than I actually can.
Yes.
So I figured I would do it, and then I also figured that the guys would have some downtime, either the
Mhm.
project team or some people getting laid off. One guy got the news last week, I believe, that he was going to be getting laid off in 3 weeks. So our layoff did not correlate to the downtime.
Yeah.
And our guys, we've found that even if there is some lighter days or chance for Friday off, a lot of guys they want their time off. They've had a hard
Yeah.
summer. I had it as optional. Some people took me up on it, did some door hangers, put some signs out across town, but it
Mhm.
wasn't enough to get it all out. So next
Isn't
year
that
I'll have to.
interesting? You put it out there to lay off or to stay on for a little bit longer to do absolutely anything, and people still take off. Always boggles my mind. I've never understood it, but oh well.
Just different, everybody's got different priorities. So
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you finished mowing, you're doing Christmas lights. Has it started to die down a little bit for Christmas lights, or are you guys in full swing?
pretty full swing. They were packed their schedule this week. Next week, I've got to work to fill it up. They're about 50%. And then I've never done it before. So I'm thinking I can book into the week after next. And
Okay.
that was my goal, to get 2 installs a day for that 2 weeks before Christmas. I don't know if people are going to still wonder or not, but I know the leads
Mhm.
are the leads kind of picked up around Thanksgiving. Because when I got back, I had like 20 estimates to do. I think I've done over 200 estimates
Oh my goodness.
for the Christmas lights. Yeah, so I feel like a North Pole elf doing the doing the estimates. Yeah.
No kidding. So all these 7 to 8 guys, are they all going to the same place? So if you do two a day, are they all doing that? Or are you still splitting them all up to do leaf cleanups?
So they still have budget hours where they got about 250 budget hours a week of winter services. So
Okay.
Jeremy is the head.
Hmm.
He's leading the Christmas charge. We got Jordan and Drew, who's been with Jeremy, and then McKeet, who's the North Augusta location general manager. He's just learning this, and he's not comfortable on roofs at all either. But he's trying to fight that fear,
Hmm.
and so that he can get the revenue. Me and him actually, I sold one. I sold one on last Monday, and the lady, it was dependent on it getting done before Thanksgiving, and I knew Jeremy had a book schedule, but the roof wasn't crazy. And I said,
Hmm.
well, if I can guarantee it. I was like, even if I have to come and do it, I will. And so me and McKeet did that one together.
You
That was
faced your
his.
fears together.
Yep, we did. It wasn't a crazy pitch. It was a 1 story house, and so it we got that one done. It looked really good. That was his first from start to finish, getting it done.
Sweet.
And so next year he'll have more of the skills to do it. So, but he's yesterday it was Jeremy, Jordan, Drew, McKeet, and then 2 of McKeet's employees went out and did, I think, 3 of them,
Excellent.
3 installs. Yep. But typically it's just Jeremy and 2 other guys, and then everyone else does budgeted hours.
Hmm. So when you buy all these supplies, you probably since this is the first year, wondered how much to even buy. But most people are going to wonder where you put all this stuff, how you store it. Do you take them all back? And if they do you label them with that specific customer's name? How does that work when most people wouldn't have more than a garage?
Yeah, so it doesn't really take up a terrible amount of room. I think it was 4 pallets
Oh,
total,
okay.
and that included the signs. So if you've got like this room that I'm in is probably a 10 by 10 or a 12 by 12,
Hmm.
and we would have had more than enough room as far as it coming in. Now, when we take it off, we're going to put it in totes,
Okay.
17 or 27-gallon totes. We'll label it for the client and then have it for next year. So I'm not sure what it's going to look like in tote form.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to take up more space.
Hmm.
But I've seen Jason's. He's got, I think he had 300 or 300 and change homes. That took up a good bit of space, but it wasn't crazy. Like if you have that much volume, you'll go rent a storage unit because you'll have enough money to, if you
Yeah.
don't have a shop, you'll be fine. You'll just
Yeah.
rent a storage unit and be happy about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
Yeah.
not a bad problem to have if you're filling up if you're filling up space with Christmas lights.
Yeah. In his experience, does he do Christmas lights up to Christmas Eve?
I think he said it usually goes about crickets the first week of December, but I think he said that week after you're still putting up.
I
Yeah, I
would
think
think
he's
that would be the busiest time. People are starting their Christmas shopping, and I would think they're getting their Christmas lights up right around then.
Yeah, I'll find out. I've been tracking it decently, so we'll see what the volume's looking like if it picks up. But yeah, a lot of people are. I'm a last minute shopper. Hopefully, not going to be this year. So
Hey man, Amazon, that is the
that
most wonderful place. We had our
is
Christmas
true.
drawing for the family last night, and within 5 minutes. So I try to never look at my phone when I'm with the family. So Thanksgiving, we do all the drawing, and somebody looked across the room and they said, "I bet you already bought your gift, didn't you?" And I'm like, what can I say? I picked up my phone, took a picture of the piece of paper I had drawn the name, go online and order the present they just asked for, and I'm done. So I plan to not go into one single store and
That's
do all my
awesome.
Christmas shopping. So, got to buy back my time here.
Yeah, Me and my wife, we have a little tradition that it's a couple days before Christmas. We have a date day, and
Okay.
my we get my mom to watch the kids, and then we just go and run through a bunch of stores and get it all done.
That sounds so fun.
I think we got it done. It was within 5 hours. All the
Impressive.
gifts were purchased, and we got to have lunch or whatever. So it was
I
kind of a
love
fun
that.
thing.
Yeah, I love that. So the customers that don't come back for the Christmas lights, what are you going to do with their product? Do you just you're going to put them back on the pallet? You're going to wait till next year, and you're just going to have them labeled like these were white lights from so and so's house. But are you cutting them?
Um, they can be recycled for sure,
Okay,
especially the long runs. You can
hmm,
just put them, splice them together,
nice.
and in the bulbs can be recycled, the clips. So, yeah, it won't go to waste.
That's awesome. Wow, that's really great. And so it's been worth it for you this year to keep all some of your guys on anyway.
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is the biggest thing for you and me and everybody else is the heartbreak of laying people off, the expectations to them, what we tell them when we hire them. And a big mistake I've made is in January, February, hiring people for the upcoming season. I forget to say it's quote unquote seasonal in the office because I have no clue how many franchises we're going to sell that year. And I might, as time goes on, I'm able to fill more and more time for them as we sell locations. But for the average person with the guys in the field, they're going to get laid off. So when you hire them, when do you start hiring them? And do you tell them it's seasonal?
yeah. So we'll start hiring in February. Getting interviews in, and making hires and saying we've got here's your start date, and so
Hmm.
we'll stagger the start dates, all the way from the 1st of March through April. And Jeremy did really good this year. Every single person saying, "Hey, this is a seasonal job.
Hmm.
Layoffs happen around the middle to end of November. We'll give you a heads up, and if everything is in good standing, you'll have an invitation to come back next year, and
Nice.
then start March 1st." And
Hmm.
so, and then I believe this year he did $1,000 restart bonus.
I love
And so
it.
if you get invited back, we'll give you $1,000 restart bonus if you make it 90 days. And so we don't want to just give it to them because they could just come back from March and leave.
That's true.
So we say, hey, you got to make it 90 days because they could, their behavior might be different, or
Yes.
so we still want them to be a in good standing employee. And so at the end of the 30, we'll give them their $1,000 restart bonus.
Interesting. So when you let them go for the winter, if they've been a great employee, are you almost you're guaranteeing kind of that they will have a job?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
okay. So you're not leaving them kind of hanging to where you're going to get a hold of them and maybe offer them something in the spring.
No, whenever we're letting someone go that we want back, we guarantee them a start date, and a position. So we'll count them in on the lineup that we need
Hmm.
because we know what we need, and if we're growing or anticipating growth, we'll account for that as well.
Hmm. This
So
morning, I was watching a video that had been cut up a little bit, and it was for multi location owners from Augusta Nation. And it was something a little bit different. Recently, we had WhatsApp groups created for multiple different types of companies in Augusta Nation. And you were on this call in your Santa hat, which is very nice. And so several multi-unit owners were on the call. And how has that something like that community been for you in Augusta Nation? This was a new thing. Mike's like, hey, just let's hop on a call. What was that like for you to experience that with different owners in Augusta Nation?
Oh, that was huge. That was an awesome surprise. I don't know if he announced it
I don't
earlier than
think
I
so.
saw it. I think it was like an afternoon. I was like, oh,
Yes.
I've got a call, and I was stoked. I was like, oh man, this is going to be great. Anytime you're around a founder like Mike,
Yeah.
you would want as much time with him as possible. His time
Yeah.
is very very limited, and you respect that. But anytime he initiates like, hey man, let's spend some time together. It's like, yeah, I'm there. I don't care what time it is. So
Yeah.
it was awesome getting to see the multi-unit owners together, just having like a fluid conversation about some of the struggles and challenges, and then being able to have feedback from other multi-unit owners that maybe have already been through that or going through it, and what they're doing. It was extremely valuable.
Yeah, and it's a candid conversation. So it's not the type of thing that you would put out or want to put out or have those owners think that it was going to put out. But I was glad that he was able to take some clips of it to just show the behind the scenes of what owners deal with, because I'm sure that's invaluable to so many of the viewers, even though they're not a part of Augusta Nation.
Yeah, getting to see it. I know when before Augusta, I was searching, kind of like I guess Mike was searching too at some point. Hey, buddy, let's say hey to Liz.
Hey, how
Say
are you?
hey.
Merry Christmas.
She is. She works with Augusta. Did you know that? Yeah, she knows Max personally.
I do. He's my dog.
Say bye bye.
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 Man, he's big.
I'll be done in just a minute. Yep, he was the inspiration for the hair.
I love
Had to
it.
see if it was going to be curly. But what was I saying?
You were
I
talking.
was searching for something because I knew I was not winning. I needed to know how to win, and I was around. At first, I was around my town, like who else? Who's got all the trucks? Who's got what looks like a business that I would want?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized that was not really what I wanted, because all those guys with the big trucks, they were still extremely involved in their business, even if they're doing well, making good money. That's not what I wanted. And I started looking online. I think it was like Green Industry Consultants. They were like 5, 10, $20 million businesses. I was like, well, that's not what I'm looking for either.
Yeah.
And Potoshnik, he was no longer really involved. So a lot of his stuff was, although the core of it was good, it just seemed outdated, and he wasn't.
Yes.
So there was nothing. And so now having Mike, he laid the foundation, and then now having the live calls, being able to call Connor Hutchinson or Jason Murphy or Ryan Payne, is just huge.
Yeah, it's so awesome. People ahead of you, people behind you, the people behind you, they still have good ideas that we haven't even implemented yet. That's the beauty of being at the bottom of, really, I call it like the baby phases of something that will someday be huge. And all of us together getting to listen to each other, collaborate, and build it together. As far as we know, it's never been done by anybody before in our industry quite this way. And so it's been a pretty wild ride. And I would love for people to go back and hear our other interviews of really in depth how your businesses have come to be. But you have an unusual experience that doesn't usually work, and that is with a working with somebody in a partnership. And when you start this, if you don't know anybody who's done it before, you're going to make mistakes. And how do you even set something like this up? So you might start it and then I realize, oh my God, I probably shouldn't have set it up this way. It's like a marriage, really. And you don't know when it will end. It's like you hope it'll be for a lifetime, but life events happen. People get married, they have babies, they don't contribute maybe the way the other person does. So at the beginning of your marriage with Jeremy, how did you set, I know it's changed over time, but how did you set the precedent of, okay, now you're going to be part owner, a small portion of the owner? How do you divide responsibility?
Yeah, so it all first started with a little napkin and a promise, back when I was Fine Lines. I knew I was operationally, that's my weakest part of the business. It was the most necessary, and I wanted to do planning and growth and expansion well beyond when I should have. And I think a lot of owners can probably relate to that. I can remember being $300,000, and I was thinking so far ahead that I was not doing the work that I should have been doing.
Yeah.
Like, so when he came on, I was through with it. I was already 5 years in. He came on, and there's like this light, and I was like, this is the guy that I need. I don't want him to leave. He was on the way to go to college, and at every point, I was like, hey, man, this is where I want to take this thing. I know I can get there. I just need some traction. I need someone that embodies the vision. And back then, I thought 10% ownership was something big and something huge, because I was always thinking of making a $10 million plus business. And I was like, hey, man, this is going to be big, and I'm going to put you at the helm of the leadership. Every time I move up, you move up, type thing. And I had this little structure of hierarchy and all that. And that's how it started. And then he basically, didn't take me up on it contractually. But when we got to Augusta, he was still there, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna make this legal." And so I forget what anniversary it was of his work anniversary. I went and got a contract drawn up for the 10%. Then I had, as far as our contractual duties, because it's kind of ambiguous, right? He is the operations manager for Augusta, but I had growth plans to have multiple locations and regions. And so it's easy to see that, like, okay, once we get 5 locations and I'm done being the regional manager that needed to be, you're going to be the regional manager. And then when we get enough locations and regions, you're going to be the VP or whatever you want to call yourself. You're going to be the layer between me and those 3 regional managers.
Yes, that's awesome.
So that kind of thing. And so we made a what is it called? A working contract, like here's your duties and responsibilities. And then we, in the contract, like, well, if you don't do your duties and responsibilities, here's how we exit this. Or if you want to move, or if you want to go to a different line of business, I will buy you out. And so we've got the exit strategy as far as if anybody wants out or has to be forced out. So we've got all that. And then that's the legal part of it. And now as he's grown, the company has grown. I wouldn't have been able to do it without him, as far as where it's gotten, or without somebody willing to do what he's done. And he was the only one willing to do it. So that's why I say without him, I didn't know anybody else. And so I gave him an additional 10%. But with that 10%, it requires 10% contribution for future growth.
Got it.
So he can have it. And then he has the ability to purchase up to an additional 20% in any, like, for instance, we're opening up Aiken in January. And so he can purchase up to 40. He can have up to 40% total if he wants to buy in. So it's contractual, and then that's the legal part. Now the marriage part, the real part, is me caring about him, me caring about the business and others, putting them first, and me eating last. A lot of that, and just making sure that what I say is going to happen. Like, a lot of this growth is because I have to grow this thing big enough for him to move into a regional manager position.
100%.
And then my promises pretty big, because typically when you come into or even an owner doesn't typically build a business to where he can walk away and it grow and he, be able to take his distributions and everything be fine. But I've basically told him, like, this is my goal. This is what I want to do. I want to grow this business so big that you will no longer have a in the field. You won't be a regional manager. You'll be a president of, or a CEO or whatever.
Right. So we change our goals as we go along, as we learn and grow. So I remember that your goal was 50 locations. Is that still the goal?
I'm not going to put a number on it anymore. I think putting a number on it kind of puts a lot of pressure unnecessarily. And then some people that aren't thinking, they're thinking year to year or month to month. They might look at that and be like, are you crazy? So I took the number out. And then it was just led by my faith walk. Basically God was leading me to say, hey, I've got this. This is the path you're on. You don't have to try to control it by writing these things down and having intricate plans. Just know that you're going to grow as many as I will allow. And basically I'm I'm comfortable with that now. So
Yeah.
I know whatever God allows will provide for me and the families of others, and don't know what that number is going to be. I could tell you mathematically it needs to be more than 2 regions
Okay.
in order for Jeremy to have that role.
Yeah.
So I'm at least 2 or 3 regions, but I don't know the number. I'm not going to put a number on it.
And how many locations would you put in a region?
At least 5.
Okay, that makes
Yep.
sense. And
And
so
so,
currently, even though you're a partner with Jeremy, what is his day-to-day duties?
yeah, so he is the operations manager of the Augusta location. He's got in the peak season anywhere between 15 and 16 employees. And so just, he doesn't have an office assistant either. He didn't. So he's very, very busy with scheduling, employee relations, time off, them being sick, anything that they have during the day,
Yeah.
questions about the job and what that, all that. And then client relations. So trying to save people from wanting to cancel, handling damage cases, making sure the equipment gets to the right place or the mobile mechanic handles the right things. He's got a ton on his plate with that location.
Yeah. No kidding. Does he have any help? You said no office assistant, but does command do anything for him
Oh
to
yeah.
kind of be that assistant for him?
Yeah, we're set up as full service, so we've got a connect team, and so if he's doing something and a client needs certain attention, he'll say, "Hey, call this client, give him a refund," stuff like
Got
that.
it. So
Client
they're like a lifetime. Those who don't know what Connect Team is, it's just like a chat that all day he can put things on and then have them take care of it. So it'd be like if an assistant was in the room, you'd say, "Hey, can you call so and so, whatever," except it's on a chat.
Yep, and they take all of our calls, so he doesn't have to be
Okay.
reactionary to taking calls. If he had to take calls, man,
It'd be
that's 15 hours.
impossible.
Yeah,
He
it's
would just
15
be
hours
on
a
the
week,
phone.
just right there. They do that. They also handle our text chat.
Okay. For your
So
customers.
yep, because customers can text us into the system, and
Hmm.
so or command center handles that. All the to dos show up. If it's a to do for me, the estimator comes on my schedule. If it's to do for Jeremy, it goes on his schedule. So yeah, we definitely need that. He wouldn't be able to do his job without that. And we're actually going to hire an office assistant next year
Hmm.
to help him even further with that, because we're eventually going to break up his location into 3 locations, and
I see. Because it's
that'll
getting
fill out the
so
region.
big.
Hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
and they're as far as you can look it up, revenue by city.
Hmm.
And so it's already outlined in there. We've got Grovetown, Evans, Martinez, Augusta, and so they're already basically three territories.
Wow. So he'd almost be regional manager already if you
Hmm.
add the new one with
Yeah, whenever we
McKee.
do that, he will be able to be, and so I'll be the regional manager this year coming up because we'll have 3 locations, and then depending on liquidity, when we break those up, he'll be a regional manager whenever we do that.
So McKee, he's the general manager of the other location. How much is he involved, or does Jeremy still do all their routing, setting up their jobs, and all that sort of thing to give some assistance?
No, McKeat handles all the scheduling. Command Center is a little bit more involved with McKeat's location,
Hmm.
and then Jeremy does the payroll. And
I
then
see.
there's still some things that McKeat's learning from somebody that's really good at his job. So
Yeah.
he goes and will help McKeat with operational things.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then I have the meetings with McKeat every Wednesday
I
as a
see.
general
Okay.
manager. Yeah.
Okay, so those who are not in Augusta that would even run a couple businesses, they're going to ask, do you keep every single thing separate, or do you run people over? Do you do QuickBooks the same, or do you keep it like we started this company, it's all one thing and over here? Because I would think it would get pretty confusing if you start overlapping.
Yeah, everything's separate bank accounts, separate books, separate hiring, all that.
Fantastic. Yeah. So for the future, tell us where you are right now and you're thinking of purchasing another location. How does that work with you and Jeremy if you want to purchase something new in this working contract? Are you just kind of figuring it out as you go and asking questions on masterminds and things? Or what's your thought process?
Yeah. So with this Aiken location, we were gonna, put a good bit of money into it to make
Mm-hmm.
it scale up quickly. And so we were anticipating $150,000. We were going to get a bank loan for it, so we didn't have to use all of our cash. And I was thinking we were going to have to put up 20%, and so
Okay.
that would have been a cash contribution on our part of $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right, well, Jeremy, you already have 10%. You know, already have 10%. You have to contribute 30% to get your total to be 40. And so that would have been $9,000. And
Okay.
then 21,000 for me. And so the bank didn't require a down payment though. And so I did ask in the mastermind,
Mm,
I was like, what would you do in this situation, Mike?
yeah.
And he said, well, definitely have both parties on the loan, and then just contribute a certain amount of money anyways and put it in the account so that y'all, each of you have the skin in the game. And there's
I like
never,
it.
in business, there's never too much money. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if
100%.
you're trying to use it, there could be
Yeah.
too much money. But if you're putting it aside, as a safety net, so that's what we decided to do. We decided to say, we got enough money from the bank, and so we're going to put, what was it? I forget what it was, but basically it was a total of $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jeremy's putting down, I think 6, and I'm putting 14. Just
Got
putting
it.
it in a side account,
Yeah.
so that if things happen, we've got something to come from, and we've both contributed towards the business.
Yeah. So that money that goes into that account, is that with the mentality that when you get enough, you'll buy your next locations?
We'll probably, yeah, we could use some of that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But from our distributions that go to us from the main location, and then hopefully next year from the North Augusta location, we'll take those, we'll save them, and then growth is always on the table.
Yeah.
So we all know we have to save that money for that growth,
Yeah.
our personal money.
So in this marriage relationship with the two of you, you both have other relationships outside of this, which majorly can complicate this, especially when the two of you and the business are small. We're putting in 110% pedal to the metal, which you're still trying to do, but you have some other people you've been able to delegate things. But now Jeremy has a relationship, starting a family, all of that. I think he got married. I think they bought a home, right? They are
Yeah.
doing a lot, him and his wife. And so how has that changed with, I mean, you can't keep the pace that you did before when it was just the two of you. So have you had some pretty hard conversations about that? Or has his goal been, I got to delegate if I'm going to have a relationship or a family in my life?
Yeah. So Jeremy, super huge news. A wife, a house, and a baby.
Oh, wow.
All in one swing. And so baby will be due in March.
Hmm.
So yeah, he'll be a papa, and he's got a house being built. Should be moving in before the new year. Um,
Wow. That's a
yeah,
lot.
this partnership, it was truly a godsend. It
Yeah.
was I believe it to the fullest. I um, I like to try to control things, and God has a
Hmm.
different path for me. I've got a family, and I had a young family back.
In the
My first,
beginning.
yeah, my first son was born in 2018, and it was a struggle bus.
Yeah.
It was very hard. I was working very long hours.
Hmm.
Um, was not uh, was not present as much as I should have been,
Yeah.
and even into 2 years ago, wasn't was present. I naturally tend to just want to take things to the extreme.
100%. Yeah.
Um, but God has given me this awesome family, amazing wife,
Hmm.
supportive. She's an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
two awesome, healthy boys. And so it is actually with Jeremy's family, you he does whatever it has to be done, but he
Yeah.
makes sure that he gets off in time to spend
That's
time with
awesome.
his family. And so it's kind of the culture now,
Yeah.
but and
That's great.
it was hard at first to be able to tell other people that are being a general manager, like, hey, it's gonna be 3 years of suck, and your
Yeah.
discretionary effort, your Saturdays, your evenings, your nights are going to determine how fast you get to this level of profitability and
True.
reap the rewards that you're doing this for. So don't
Right.
look at me getting off at 5:30. I also get home, play with my kids, have dinner, and then if I have to do something, I do it, at
Later.
night.
Yeah.
So, but I am able to say, hey, I'm getting off at 5:30.
Yeah.
I'm able to do that now, and that's great. So it was hard, it was a struggle for a little while, but I was like, hey, I'm 10 years in.
Yeah.
I've done a lot to create this foundation, and I can tell someone that I've been there, and you're gonna have to go through it in order to reap the rewards. So
Yeah.
that's
That's a great way to put it, and to make it all happen. It's the same for Mike and I, like as our lives transition, to find, I don't think there's such thing as a balance. But you just figure out like the percentage of how you're going to do this thing at what stage and at what phase and at what season. So in your current role, how much are you, in the business every day? Are you doing estimates, and then kind of he takes it from there once the job's accepted?
Yeah, so I'm fully sales. So I do the estimates, I send my estimates, I do the follow ups. I help with if whatever Jeremy needs me, I'll help. But he handles all of operations, everything. And so and I'm hiring one of the guys who's been with us 3 years, Jordan. He's done estimates with me, had trainings with me throughout the past year. He's going to be the estimator next year, so that I
Got it.
can, because I really wasn't able to be there for McKeith, there for Jeremy,
Right.
and be the estimator. I
Yeah.
think we'll do probably 2,300 estimates just in the Augusta location this year. So not Superman. Cannot.
Yeah.
I can do that. I can do a couple roles decently well.
Yeah.
But what the role that they needed me the most with is sales. And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, next year I'll be able to be support to the managers, and be able to look at the business at a little bit higher level.
Yeah. So this is Thanksgiving weekend. And when I thought of you this week, I wanted to reach out to you because it's Thanksgiving weekend, and thinking that how far both of us have come as we both supported Augusta Nation. And really, when you thought of being thankful this year, really what stands out to you as the things that are at the top of your list that you would have appreciation for in Augusta and in your walk with God and your employees, just where you are.
Yeah, I truly believe they're all wrapped together,
Okay.
in God's grand plan. Because I was trying to get out of the business.
Mhm.
I was done 3 years in. I had my business for sale. I was
Mhm.
looking for direction. I had a wife. We were gonna have a family,
Mhm.
and so it all really wrapped in together.
Mhm.
For Augusta, it it allowed me to have the financial security and direction.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I can make a financial life out of this. Um,
Mhm.
just the financial part of it was great, and so it allowed me to focus on one thing. Gave me that focus and required it of me to make it happen.
Mhm.
Um, and now the relationships that I've built, meeting you and Mike and Lee and Nick and all the owners, that I talk with on a regular basis, is like my family. And so it's not
Mhm.
just financial. It's we've got a brotherhood. It's a family. All that has provided the growth lessons, and put me on the path that God has transformed me to be what I need to be for Him and for His glory.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it allowed me to be present for my family. Because before, that's all I thought about was business,
Yeah.
and now it is. I can comfortably have a weekend.
Yeah.
Like I used to be the guy that, like, people say it's Friday. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I
100%. What's a
don't care.
holiday?
Yeah, exactly.
Why
So
do you want off?
yeah, but it's shown me that there's so much more important things in life.
Yeah.
And it's just a component. It's a necessary component. Like you're saying balance. Like and Mike, it relates it to running, right? Like
Yeah.
you're always falling.
Yeah.
And so there's no real true balance when people say, hey, I'm spending 2 hours with family, 2 hours with business. So no, it's like I need to not fall. So whatever is pressing at the moment, if my business is on fire, I'm not going to have that 2 hour balance with my family. I'm going to
Yeah.
be putting that fire out. But then, like this year and last year, I've a lot of great vacations and times with family. I'm not giving my all to the business, but the business doesn't need my all the way I'm building
Right.
it. So it's yeah, relationally, it's Augusta has provided a home for me for sure.
I would say a big thing that I'm thankful for is someone like you that's come into Augusta. And you can see with you as well as me that it's way more than a job. It's about the people, the community, building really a family, a certain element or angle that you couldn't have on a natural level with your natural family, maybe. But there's something that all of us have in common. So you are what a part of what's called the coaching program with Augusta, and Nick, when he talks about you, how supportive you are, how you're always there, how you're willing to give advice, and to be in that role, you have to have gone through all you have been. The highs and the lows. The parts of trying to delegate to other people. And how has that been for you to try to give business to other owners and be a little detached from all of your experiences, but to give them, play by play action of what they should be doing? How has it been for you to be in that role? First of all, like to even be willing to give the time, like say that I do, okay, you're not getting paid for this, but it's still a valuable part of Augusta and helping the other owners.
Yeah, I think throughout all my things that I've done, bodybuilding or tennis, or I've always had a coaching. Like people have always come to me for advice, or I've
Mm-hmm.
actually coached tennis, and I love it. I
Mm-hmm.
had me and my wife had a nutrition coaching business, and like I didn't put it, to think about it, but I love teaching and I
Yeah.
love sharing. I like hearing people's stories and being able to be empathetic, but also like we've got an Augusta system, and
Mm-hmm.
so I can be empathetic and say, okay, I completely understand this situation, but you're here.
Yeah.
In order to get you out of here, we can't focus on that. We've got to focus on the things that are necessary to move you forward. And so, um, I hope, anyways, like people that I've talked with that have shared, their personal struggles, see that empathy, but also see the guidance, because I have gone through all those points in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and they're hard, and I don't ever forget that. Like it was absolutely um, just terrible at
Mm-hmm.
certain times, wanting to give up, not having money, not having, spending all my time at something that just was not producing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you're in Augusta doesn't mean you're going to be able to skip all that.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just means you've got guidance to get you through.
Yeah. So you and Jeremy are very special to me from the first time that I saw you guys. Hadn't even met you, just saw you. There was just a huge connection, and I found out that you were from Augusta, and I'm like, oh, we have to have somebody from Augusta in Augusta. And from that very first moment, even when Mike was like, no way, he was doing sales, I'm like, those guys are meant to be a part of Augusta. They are like us, they're one of us. And I am just so thankful this Thanksgiving for you and Jeremy and your part and angle of Augusta, for your wife and her support. Incredible woman. And is she there?
She is. Yeah, she's in her morning wear there.
Oh, that's fine.
I
But
don't know if she wants to
just so
peek in
she
here.
can hear that we love
Yep.
her.
You can come
And
here though. Come here. Come here.
you at least got to peek in and, hey, buddy.
This is my oldest.
Hi there.
This is Caden.
You realize they're both wearing red today magically, and it's
Yeah,
almost Christmas.
it's the holiday season. What do you want for
So much
Christmas,
fun.
Caden?
Yeah.
What's the number one? A hoverboard?
Yes.
All right, we'll see.
Wow. You think you can ride that thing?
He rides my Segway. Yeah, that little one, the thing I got for door hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Impressive. Impressive. Yeah. Well, I won't keep you anymore. If I forgot to ask you something today that you were hoping you would get to share, what is that?
You know, I think we've covered it. I think one thing I love about Augusta is, um, and as a Christian, that's what we're supposed to do. Is we're supposed to act. You know,
Hmm.
people are supposed to be able to look at us and see it,
Yeah.
not be not. It's not necessarily. Some of us are. Some of us are ministers. You know, is it your uncle?
Yes.
He's a pastor.
No, no, no,
Uh,
that's my brother.
That's your brother. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mike. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, Mike's father. Yeah, your
Yes.
brother is a pastor, so that's his mission. Like it's his thing. He talks about it. He preaches. But for others, our ministry should be able to be seen, and that's one
Yes.
thing that Mike. I know. I mean, he grew up as a pastor's son,
Hmm.
and so he has all of that.
Yeah.
But he also he just shows it, and
Yes.
uh, and he shows a lot of his charitable works like in just he doesn't even talk about it. He just does it.
Right. Right.
And I love that, you know, because um, everybody in Augusta that I've met has a strong faith,
Yeah.
and being able to see, you know, what your path, what the struggles you've gone through,
Hmm.
and still what you give out is love.
Hmm.
And that's what we're supposed to do. And
Hmm.
I love being a part of that. Nothing feels forced. You know, we're all here for business, but somehow, you know, Jesus comes up all the time,
Yeah.
naturally. I love that. So
True.
I don't
True.
know if that was one thing. We had talked about faith, but Augusta to me is my ministry. So
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. It's so much more than a job.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Merry Christmas. We'll touch
Merry
base
Christmas.
next year and see how it's going for you. But I appreciate so much your time today. This is your time with your family. And so tell them thank you too.
All right, thank you, Liz.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.